We have no sound, so we won't really have sound, but I'll let this video play while I'm talking about what this is. The idea of Wikipedia Academy is that we went to a university in South Africa. This guy, Caddy, here, is the founder of SETA City Campus. SETA is a completely free university based in Johannesburg. Basically, what he did immediately, sort of in the post-apartheid era, downtown Johannesburg became very dangerous. There was a financial company that had just built a big office building down there, and all the companies were fleeing to the suburbs, and they had this building they weren't using, and he twisted their arm and convinced them to donate it to start a university. So they donated the building, so there's this large building in downtown, maybe a 12-story building, and he offers it's a university education there. Well, in the early years, they love talking about the early years. In the early years, they had basically nothing. They had some volunteer teachers, they had a few books, they had nothing. But over time, Patty's gone out and gotten donations from companies, from wealthy people all over the world and things like this, and they've actually begun building a university there. And it's a business school. They try to be very practical. The idea is the students are accepted based on need, but also based on ability. There's quite a waiting list to get into the school. And the idea is to take students from the poorest townships, give them a useful, valuable education, and they can go out and get good jobs and so forth. Well, we went there because a lot of these students, their home language is, of course, not English and not Afrikaans. And so we wanted to help these students learn how to edit Wikipedia. So we had a little seminar. We taught people how to edit Wikipedia in their own language. But it was really just a pilot project. We had about 30 students is all we had that day. And that really wasn't enough. We have had some activity in some of the languages since then, but what we feel like we really need to spark the growth of a community, you really need to have that critical mass. And it's not a large critical mass. It's 5 to 10 people. Maybe one of them needs to be annoying to bring the others back every day. But you just need a handful of people, and then they can begin meeting monthly, meeting at the university, reaching out. There are active communities in all these languages. And so that's something that we're looking at for the future, is how can we do more of that kind of thing to spark growth in these small languages. So to move on now to other parts of my work, my age-old mission statement is this: imagine a world in which every single person on the planet, and Wikipedia, as I said, is the sum of all human knowledge. So it is that essentialized summary. So an encyclopedia was the start, and you think about what a traditional encyclopedia is. It's a set of books about this big, and you go into the library. But when we think about all human knowledge and all the other things that people might want to do, we're thinking about the library, all the other types of books and works that could be in a library beyond just an encyclopedia. So to give you some examples of something to make it a little clearer, like what the difference is, Uncyclopedia is part of Wikia, which is my new company. Uncyclopedia is a parody of Wikipedia. I think they deny that it's a parody of Wikipedia. They say Wikipedia is a parody of Uncyclopedia. But the idea is it's a humor site about everything. It's an encyclopedia of everything in the world, but it's funny, or tries to be funny. It usually actually is very, very funny. So Wikia is a completely separate organization, and it's every other kind of book, work, or community that people might want to build. So we're extending the Wikipedia model beyond just the nonprofit educational and research type of work into every other kind of thing that people might want to do. I'm a big advocate of the free culture movement, of this idea of collaborative culture, and not all of it has to be really serious educational materials. It can be all kinds of fun things. And so we're looking at how can we support this. Still, everything at Wikia is freely licensed, so we use GPL software. We release our software open source. We use free documentation licensed content. We also have some Creative Commons content. And it's all about bringing communities together under licenses that allow them to take their work and leave if they don't like what we're doing. So Wikia has been growing very quickly. This is a graph. It's a little out of date. I need to get an updated version. But this is showing the first couple of years of growth of Wikia as compared to 2002-2003 Wikipedia in terms of the total number of articles. And as you can see, it's following the same kind of trajectory. People are writing lots and lots and lots of stuff. So it's interesting to think about what's going on with media, what's going on with the things that people are doing online and the information. And what's interesting to me is, let's take a topic like the Muppets. So if you just go to Google and you search for Muppet, you get a whole series of search results. And this one right here, Muppets.com, which is the official home of the Muppets, is the only thing on this whole list which is traditional top-down media, where people are writing content at a company and distributing it, and then people go and read it. Everything else here is really consumer-generated. Even the images, this is from Google Image Search, those are mostly plucked off of random websites of fans all over the internet. Those don't just come from the official site. We have here the Muppet Central fan site, which is an enormous message board where people talk about the Muppets. We've got not one, but 2 Wikipedia articles about different aspects of the Muppets. We have the Muppet Wiki, which is a Wikia site, which I'm going to show you here in a second. And we have a YouTube video, which is some kind of video. It's a parody of The Matrix, having something to do with the Muppets. I don't know what it is, but, well, you know YouTube. So here's the Muppet Wiki. So if you look in Wikipedia and you go to the category in Wikipedia relating to the Muppets, you can find that the Wikipedians have written about 300 different articles about every aspect of the Muppets. 300 articles. That's like a classic Wikipedia story, right? How many articles would Britannica have about the Muppets? Maybe 1, right? 300 articles about the Muppets. So Muppet Show, Muppet Movie, Jim Henson, Big Bird, Kermit, it goes on and on and on. And you would think that would more or less have it all covered. Like, that's everything you could possibly want to know about the Muppets. But at the Muppet Wiki, in about a year and a half, they have written 15,271 articles about the Muppets. What the hell are they doing? And keep in mind, this is not like message board posts or comments, right? This is individual articles, just like a Wikipedia entry. Some of them are short, some of them are longer. Most of them are actually of pretty decent length. And so how could this possibly be? What could they possibly be writing about? And so to give an idea of the difference between Muppet Wiki and Wikipedia, this is the entry on IBM in Wikipedia. It's a good Wikipedia entry. It tells about the history of the company, the current business, market cap, different controversies, whatever it is about IBM. It's everything you want to know about IBM. However, for some reason that I can't understand at all, this article completely fails to mention that Cookie Monster appeared in a series of training videos back in the 1960s. So, but this is the only thing that the Muppet people care about, right? Basically, in the Muppet Wiki, the article about IBM is all about the relationship with Jim Henson and the Muppets back in the 60s. It's actually really interesting, surprisingly enough. This Cookie Monster, this is before he was called Cookie Monster. It was his first appearance anywhere, and he was sort of the pre-Cookie Monster. And he ran this machine and it blew up on him and so forth. And later he became the Cookie Monster. So, well, there you go. So once you see this, you get an idea that you can have pop culture encyclopedias on almost any topic. And instead of being an article about IBM, I mean, if you put this picture into the IBM article at Wikipedia, I'm just guessing the Wikipedians would probably revert you pretty quickly. They would say, really, Cookie Monster is not an essentialized summary of what went on at IBM. It's really excessive information that's not that relevant to the audience of Wikipedia, but if you're a Muppet fan, it's exactly what you were looking for. So the other big thing about Wikia that lots of people have heard about is our search engine project. So we're working on creating a completely open source search engine. It's basically bringing a lot of the core values and ideals of the wiki model of all my work to the idea of search. Right now we have a situation where most of the parts of the infrastructure of the internet are based on open standards, open source software, but search, which is a core part of the infrastructure, is closed, proprietary. How things are ranked and ordered is really a black box, very secretive. Typically when people think about search, we've been encouraged for a long time to not think about search results as being editorial in nature. The idea is, oh, it's just the algorithm, right? The algorithm gives us the answer, but the truth is, every search result you get is in some way a political statement about the world, small p politics. It's telling you what's important, what's essential, what's important. And right now, not only do you have no way of really having any input in that, you have no way of even seeing how that's determined. I mean, we have some idea how Google and Yahoo do it. It's not completely unreasonable, and I think they do a reasonable job of being fair, but it is a black box. It's not transparent. It's not participatory. And so my idea is, let's really have an experimental project and let's really put some resources behind it to try to find a more open way to do search. So because of this, we've gotten really an out of proportion amount of attention from the press. It's like a really cool story, far out of proportion to what we've actually accomplished.